Hi, Holly.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for joining.
Wow, that's a big screen. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're looking there. Fantastic. So I guess we're ready to start.
Let's do it.
Excellent. Well, thank you firstly so much for having me. It's an honor to be able to dial in and join this kickoff event. My name is Holly Cyrus, and I'm a senior sustainability manager at the Global Fashion Agenda. Global Fashion Agenda is a not-profit organization that is geared to mobilizing the fashion industry to make bold action on sustainability. And we need bold action on sustainability. The construct that the industry is built on exploits the world's resources. It employs those in the lowest wage countries in the world, and is a system of devaluation. The clothing that is created is discounted, there's overproduction, lots of waste, and a huge amount of clothing that has been worn ends up in landfill and incineration. Only 1% of clothing that we've worn is currently recycled back into the supply chain, and that's something that we believe can be truly revolutionized. Our organization conducts research and develops publications, brings the industry together, and has initiatives such as an innovation platform and matchmaking. One of the projects that we've been working on is called Fashion on Climate, and this is what I'd like to share something with you about today to hopefully set context for the Wear Me 30 Times campaign. And I personally believe that the fashion industry can often seem complex, and if you talk about sustainability, it can be quite daunting about where you can start, but we all have an important role to play, and we all have the power to make change. So I'd like to share with you just a brief insight onto what fashion's impact is on climate and how we can all contribute in making and in reducing that impact. So I'm going to try and share my screen with you. How far can you see it, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So Fashion on Climate is an initiative that we've developed together with McKinsey. What needs to happen is that fashion needs to act on climate, and we need to act today. Because if we continue on our current path, we will miss the 2030 reductions target. That's basically the Paris Agreement by 50%. This means we'll be contributing to accelerated global warming. But there is also good news, because if we act together, we will be able to get back on track and meet the climate goals. When you're talking about the fashion industry, and I'm sure many of you in the audience or who've dialed in online will be well aware, but we think it's still an important. So when you're talking about the industry, you need to talk about the full fashion value cycle, and that goes from raw material extraction right the way through the production of materials, the production of garments, transport, retail, product use. That's when we wear clothing, how we wash it, how we dry it, how long we make it last, and then end of use. What do we do with clothing after it's been used? So the industry is a complex ecosystem with lots of different actors, and they all need to work together and work independently to be able to combat climate change. There's bad news and there's good news. So the bad news is, as I said to start with, we're 50% off target. What we're currently doing today will accelerate global warming. Think about rising sea level, think about extreme rainfall, heat waves. The consequences will be devastating for the industry, but also devastating for our livelihoods. There's also positive news. That is the full potential. As you can see here, I just clicked between, hopefully you can see on the graph. If all of the actors in the value chain work together, we can actually reduce carbon emissions below the 1.5 degree pathway and reach the climate goals. This is critical because if you see the impact of the industry, it's huge. So larger than the combined emissions of France, Germany, and the UK combined. That's what the fashion industry contributes year by year to global warming. What you can see here in the graph is the amount of carbon emissions that are created throughout the fashion value cycle. A huge amount, 38%, is in material production, yarn preparation, fabric preparation, etc. Then you can also look at brand contributions through, for example, logistics and retail. And then here, a product use. So this is when citizens wash, launder clothing, and also how long we keep clothing and the speed of production. 20% of the current carbon emissions of the fashion industry are directly linked to what we do and the decisions that we make. The last percentage is at end of use. So how much clothing ends up in a landfill, or how much is recycled back into the industry. You might be thinking, who can act? And the positive news is we can abate the carbon. And abatement means reducing the amount of carbon that's emitted. 18% of the potential to do that lies within the hands of citizens. 20%, so almost 20% within brands, and then a large amount within upstream production. And that doesn't mean that farmers or clothing makers are responsible for this. The only way you can tackle it is if it's a collaborative effort. And of course, brands have a lot of power and influence throughout the fashion value cycle. But today I wanted to focus a little bit on the influence that citizens can have. Also, if you're talking about wearing clothing items for longer, this is a power that we can easily apply in our day-to-day endeavors. If you think about circular fashion business models, such as renting clothing, re-commerce, so selling clothing twice, secondhand clothing, repairing clothing and refurbishing it to make it last, if all of those levers were pulled, we'd be save 143 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions in a year. I can't even fathom the scale. So this is something that we can really do together. By reducing washing and drying, we could deliver an 186 million tons of emission reduction. Just like, for example, skipping 1 in every 6 washing loads, washing below 30 degrees, and not drying or substituting every 6 dryer uses by hanging your clothing outside can have a huge impact. Lastly, what I wanted to share about this was if you think about recycling and collection, we can really significantly reduce carbon emissions and work towards combating climate change as well. This is estimated about 18 million tons. And it hasn't been me personally kept making all of these calculations, but we've done a cross-industry analysis with McKinsey to look at these figures. Right now, as I mentioned before, only 1% of clothing is actually recycled back into the industry. So important messages are to make our clothing last and to really treasure the materials that we own. I don't see citizens as being consumers, but more as custodians of the value that was being created throughout the fashion value cycle. And we need to cherish that value and make sure it goes back into the cycle as well. So together we can drive change. I've touched upon a few different ways how that can take place. And here, as you can see, I'm scrolling through the website that we developed. You can see what the different levers are in upstream production, brand operations, but also usage and end of use. Lastly, I won't go into too much detail, but we looked at the economics of reaching basically the climate goals. This is, I know, a very complex graph to just zoom into, but what you really need to know is that everything under the x-axis, everything under the horizontal axis, save money. Everything above costs money, and the width of each bar is how much carbon can be saved. So in a nutshell, we can conclude that to reach our climate targets within the fashion industry, most of our efforts will save money and we'll be able to reduce carbon, obviously. So I'd just like to leave you with this. Fashion may be complex, but we can tackle it together. And we believe that if we can change fashion and the way the industry works, we can really change the world. I hope this was a valuable contribution to today, and look forward to hearing any questions that you have later. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Holly, for sharing this. And if you want to see the report, you can go go to globalfashionagenda.com, right, Holly? And
Yes.
Holly will stay with us until the end. So if you have any questions, she will be there. Thank you. This said, I'm the founder and creative director of Maakola, and we are a sustainable brand. So I spend my days wondering how we can change our design, how we can implement different practices to be more and more sustainable. So last July, I was on a call with Wilfredo, and we were looking how blockchain can help us to bring transparency and certify all the processes and all the materials that come into play for the production of our clothes. And when we were discussing, I realized that we were just looking at the part of the value chain that goes from the moment that I design something to the production, but we weren't looking what happened once that consumer take ownership of the garment itself. And so it doesn't matter how much we work together and how much we try to reach all the metrics that Holly was talking about, because consumers carry a big responsibility in the way that they behave. And we're talking about how they care about their clothes and for how long they wear them. And so we had this light bulb moment in the call when it was like, oh, what if we do this? This is exactly what I was thinking. And so Maakola and Genuine Way came together to build this tool, Wear Me 30 Times, which wants to help. Because if you're sitting in this room and you're still wondering why we should care about our planet, you should always keep in mind that this planet will keep living on without us. But if we want to survive, we need to take care of it. So it's not anymore a question whether we should do it or not, but how we want to do it. And so Wear Me 30 Times is the first tool ever that crowdsource data from all the consumer in the world. Maakola and all the brands that Genuine Way brought on board, they are the first brands, but we hope that this initiative can be extended to everyone. Because in this process, every consumer can take full ownership of the responsibility that we have, and we can decide how is the footprints of our wardrobe in the environment. And so here we are.
Yeah, we're very excited. Thanks for who came here in person. We know it's hard to achieve this, so we're very happy that you're actually here and everyone connected. So I'm here representing the more techie side of things. Genuine Way is a software company. Our core business is working with small and middle-sized enterprises who are in production, from foods to fashion and cosmetics, and utilizing blockchain to auto-certify, to enable them to auto-certify their environmental impact and social impact, which are two separate spaces. It's great. This initiative was, we got excited straight away because we are always talking about slow fashion. A lot of you are involved in it, but it's very hard to find some pragmatic ways to incentivize consumers to actually take action. And we are aware that, personally, I think Wear Me 30 Times is not going to change the world, but it is a piece of the puzzle. It is a fun, a real piece of the puzzle that turns out to be very successful because, we organically grew to 40 brands before even the launch event. Some of these brands, one that is connecting is from Bali, from the US. Of course, many are from Italy. Some of you guys are here. And so this is proof that you get it and it's fun. And basically, the idea was, there had been some campaigns famous campaigns in the past incentivizing, telling consumers, hey, like Oli said, 20% of the problem is about you and your consumption habits. And I believe she said over 25% of what we can fix is on you. And it was usually campaigns that were on blogs and stuff like that, and people would post and would say, I'm doing it, and I like to wear my mom's old jacket, and I had it for 20 years, But another thing is to creating a gamification that actually allows you to play while doing this, and of course incentivize you in doing so. So the point is, and now we will get to a very brief demo, but the point is that the brands are in the game with you to award you and make you feel gratified that you are actually taking part in this game. you want? Let's go in and see.
Well, we should first of all, I'm sorry
Right.
I didn't do earlier. Lydia Ferd inspired us. So I'm a big fan of Lydia Ferd, and I'm sure that all of you know her. Starting 2017, she started the benchmark of like turkey wears. And so, following her, I always kept this in my mind, like how many times I'm actually going to wear these clothes. So for example, if you take Maakola, I really select like materials that don't fade and they test and they can like be tested more than like 50 washes. But as a like consumer, what are the tools that you have to really like check on me as a brand and say yes, right? You kept up with your like promise. You don't have anything right now. And so starting like with Livy's idea, we thought that like this tool is something like so practical and so like tangible that can make on one side brands much more like accountable for the choices that they made, and on the other side make consumers active part of their supply chain.
We basically boosted Livia's idea, because Livia's idea was from a blog. It was a very successful idea, but with this gamification, we bring it to another level of interaction. The game is very simple, and of course, we are on a version 1.0, and we wish to develop it more in time. It's a non-profit idea, but for example, in future, we would like to have more like official rankings and games within the game, or within, for example, within your office, or I don't know, a lot of extra stuff. But let's see what we're up to now. And after we show you this, you're free to actually try it. It's on your Mac.
Don't spoil it.
Don't. There's no way of trying it. And basically, it all starts by scanning an item of one of the brands that is taking part in this. We know from the brand which items will have the QR codes on them. It's free for brands and it's free for consumers, of course, to take part to this initiative. And basically, the first time that you scan a QR code, you are asked to log in with one of your social networks, because social media is part of the game, of the initiative. And following, we can start it if you want. Following the login, Following the login, basically, well, these are instructions. You select the brand that you're holding.
So this demo is based on this suit that I've been wearing for the last like year and a half.
And the model that the item you have. This way, the first time we go and identify the ownership of your item with you. You're already identified as Aurora because you use social media. And the rule is, it's a bit fast, but try to talk very fast. The rule is that the first time that you scan the QR code, we ask you to share it on social media, Facebook or Instagram, with the hashtag of wearme30times. And this is the policy for you to get your first consumption of the item. And it allows us to create awareness both for the initiative and the brand, and yourself in a way that you show that you're a conscious consumer. Following this, every time you do this, there's of course a little block. We have a 24-hour timer that is just, I know that 90% of people who take part in the game, they have a very good will, and it's not about cheating. We put this in order that someone cannot complete the game in one day and ask for a prize. So the minimum that's going to take you is 30 days, because we have a 24-hour limit on each scan. From the second scan onwards, when you scan the item, you don't have to log in again. You're already on your page with your consumption. You will have to take a selfie every time, but you will not need to post it on social media. It's up to you. The selfie will stay in the catalog within your page. And basically, we go on until we hit the milestones. We have a 10 wear milestone that we are working out to see what kind of surprise we can connect to it. But basically, the final goal is the famous 30 wears. So when you arrive to 30 times, on the 30th selfie, you will have to post it again on social media to complete your game. And basically, you will be sent on a landing page where we ask you your name, last name, and email to give you your surprise. The surprise is really a surprise because every brand does something different. So it comes with an email. it can be a big discount on the e-commerce, or it can be give me your address because I'm sending you a free item to your house, or it can be if you're in Italy, let me invite you to the next Fashion Week event as my conscious consumer. Of course, also Genuine Way or Maakola take part in it by sharing the identity of the person if they want, and you know, awarding them as a conscious consumer of the week and so on. The idea is to keep it simple, of course. Otherwise, people will not play and will get lost. But this is the initial part of the project, where to play you need to own the item of one of our brands. Of course, I believe that we will get to 200, 300 brands very fast. We work with small or middle-sized brands that are super sustainable. But in the future, there can be some initiatives that are open source that allow more consumers to join, such as download the QR code from the website and put it on any item you own and play, even if the brand is not an official brand of the initiative. Take part, and then we will find a way to incentivize and make you happy. And this was the idea of some of our partners, pass it on to someone else. Like if we're talking about high-end, clothing for a dress, for example, it's very hard for you to wear it 30 times. It's hard because, of course, the average you'll wear it 2 times. If you get to 10 times, we are very excited and satisfied. But maybe then you will pass it on to your friend or to your daughter, and she can pick up where you left to complete the 30 wears. So these are kind of ideas that will come into play, I think.
We want to see, first of all, how the platform performs at the beginning, what are the feedback that we are going to get, and then we will take it from there. You already spotted some numbers around the lifespan of clothes. I'm very curious to know what you guys think is the average lifespan of your clothes. How many times do you think people wear it before getting rid of it? Any hands? You can just do with the fingers.
Summertime.
The average between the two?
For year, month,
No, the whole life.
Forever.
life, okay. 25.
Much lower than that. We're talking about less than 10 times. And this is a mix between the gowns that he was referring to. Of course, we all have that beautiful gown that we wear for only 2 occasions, but we wear our jeans 50 times or 100 times. But this is also the result of fast fashion and how we got used to buy things that get either damaged very quickly, and the responsibility fell on the brand, or we just keep buying because the number of stimulus that we get on social media push us on buying more and more. And so we can see that even if we are in a room full of people that are into fashion, we are not aware of the lifespan of our clothes. So the achievement number 1 would be to help all of us to understand what that means and how farther we can go.
Yeah, and so the initiative is not Genuine Way or Maakola. It's an open adventure, and the brands that are supporting us are the protagonists. We couldn't have everyone speaking now, but I'm happy, for example, to give the word to a couple of our partners. There's a super cool brand from Bali, Indonesia, so we're going to be exotic, that is as sustainable as it comes, and also was one of the first brands to join us. So I would like the founder or the co-founder to tell us something more about 365 Dry, the brand.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hi.
Hey, Tim. Hi.
I'm Tim Rabaiotti. I'm the founder of 365 Dry. I don't know if you have a screen there. We're a sustainable rainwear business. We're based out of Bali, but I'm currently in grey London, unfortunately. We're very happy to be a part of the initiative with Wear Me 30 Times and the campaign that you're beginning today. We're actually thrilled. We feel that we actually have a lot of synergy. I have feedback. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, now we hear you well.
Great,
Yeah,
great. We feel that we have a lot of synergy in terms of our values in regard to your efforts and what you're doing. Essentially, with 365 Dry, we're a very different type of business if you're looking at fashion, because we make a product that is accessible, affordable, and used by many. A rain poncho is the kind of garment that historically is picked up maybe at a festival, maybe at a sports event, and passed over. People discard them. We've all seen the images of festivals and the rolls of ponchos that have been discarded by attendees and just disregarded. We saw that and thought, and in Indonesia, it's one of the biggest mobile countries on motorbikes and Vespas. And the consumers over there buy a very cheap, very poorly made product that they have no value for, that's made out of plastic, and they use it and it falls apart and they simply go and buy another one. And we saw an opportunity to begin with by using fabric made from plastic bottles. So immediately when we're not creating more plastic and more waste, but using waste to make a garment. But on top of that, we have values that we believe in make the difference. So making a product that's truly well made, something that when you put it on, it feels good, that it doesn't smell of plastic, that it doesn't feel like something cheap. Digitally printing and putting fashionable graphics on it so that you actually feel a connection to the product. And, ultimately valuing what we do. Durability is one of our main values as well, which I think coincides with the campaign. Having something that you know is going to last a long time is a bit different, because with Wear Me 30 Times, we're trying to get people, the initiative is trying to get people to consider how they are using their garments. Now, I have examples of the very first event that we did at a music festival, and somebody coming back 4 years later to say, I bought one of your ponchos at an event 4 years ago and I'd like a new one. So we know that people use it a lot, and we feel that we can use our platform of our consumers with this campaign to promote and raise awareness. So although people are using our garment for years, 30 or 40 times a year, by engaging in the gamification of it and including the scan code on every single garment, it'll entice someone who already does choose a sustainable product, but isn't really considering everything they use in their wardrobe on a day-to-day as something they could be using multiple times. I think that that's where, together, working on these types of campaigns, we can really, really create a great effect and some great momentum. We know that by rewarding people and showing them that they can make a difference, it will make a difference. And I totally agree with some of the other panelists already that the consumers have the power. And I think that this campaign will empower them to choose more sustainably and choose other brands that are like-minded. I'm really looking forward to getting on board, and I'm really excited to see how we launch and work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you so much, Tim. And then, as a second example, I actually wanted to have something physically in the room. This is something I'm very excited about because it's an Italian brand. It's a British brand owned by Italians and manufactured in Italy. So they got it was traditionally a motorcycle brand, and they turned it into a biking, clothing, super cool brand, 100% manufactured in Italy, super quality. So this is an example of a company that usually uses leather, which is not the most sustainable of products. Animal derived, it's a pretty chemical intensive to transform it. 1 year ago, at the Fashion Week, we launched together a vegan jacket, which is this item which comes from a material compound coming from corn, maize. So it's non-animal derived and it's super sustainable and innovative in its way. You touch it, it feels good. It's very similar to traditional leather, but it's super sustainable. And why do I bring this here? Because Matchless also is part of the Wear Me 30 Times campaign, and it's fantastic because with them we have, you know, a circular sustainability, a complete sustainability from a product that is substituting other standard leather jackets in the market with a production that is sustainable, to utilizing Wear Me 30 Times to engage, you know, with the jacket and show that it also does not break down. It's not a shitty quality, but I can have it for many years and use it. And it's a classic example. If after the event you want to approach the jacket, there's a little QR code in here. It says, vegan certified, scan this QR code to verify the sustainability of this jacket on blockchain. This is a project we've done as Genuine Way with this client that is certifying the environmental impact of using this jacket as opposed to another one. Plus, it has embedded the gamification, so when you buy it, you can play the game. So, in any case, feel free to engage with the jacket. What's up?
Now?
Questions?
Time to play.
Oh, time to play, yes. So, you do.
Well, so all of you got a mask downstairs, and there's like a magic QR code on it. And this is your chance to give it a try and to join Wear Me 30 Times.
Exactly, if it doesn't crash.
You can use me as a test.
So, inside, you scan the QR code, you log in with your Facebook or Instagram, it's the same, and then you have to select the event within the menu of the brands. There's the event Wear Me 30 Times. So if you go and select that, that is kind of it's going to be the brand for the mask that we generated forever. You select that brand Wear Me 30 Times, and there's the Wear Me 30 Times mask. You select that as an item. Then you take a selfie with your mask, and you are part of the Wear Me 30 Times campaign officially as a user. So very exciting. I think we are like doing questions in a very relaxed, open way, right? So there is some questions from online. There's some questions from the room. They can be in Italian if you want, either ways. And they can be for us, but they also can be for one of the panelists online, or they can be statements, you know,
If you just want to
not
make
questions,
like comments,
just make a comment. You have some of the online questions, right?
If anyone connected online wants to write in the chat the questions, we can put them live. We should also have a couple of questions from
In the meantime, I can maybe ask one of the brands who are here today who have taken part. I see two right now. For example, Lucy, if you can kindly stand up and say, you know, something about what's your philosophy and why you're excited, if you're excited to be part of Wear Me 30 Times. In English or Italian, as you would prefer. Or Portuguese.
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if you want to
Yeah,
about
better.
it, we have a question. Someone is asking, if I'm a brand now, can I use this tool, and what are you trying to achieve with it?
which is exactly why we are doing this. So we are starting as like Genuine Way and Maakola and some of the brands that we spoke about, but Wear Me 30 Times want to be like an open tool for all the brands and as well as like consumers who want to like join us. So if you're interested, you can just like drop us a note, hello@maakola.com or Genuine Way on any social media.
There's also a website of wearme30times.com. It's a simple one-pager explaining the initiative. There's also contacts there. If the brand connects with us, basically we share with them a agreement for participating in the game, which is of course cost-free. And when they apply, we basically talk with them to understand where they're going to put the QR code, and then we send them the QR code. Every brand gets their own QR code. The only difference is that they have their own landing page with their brand. So once you get your brand QR code, you can put it on any item, as long as you let us know that it's on the items. And from the next day, you can also, which is very cool, you can also send the QR code via email to your already existing consumers who already have your stuff, and ask them to take part. You know, it's not only for the people who buy it in the future. And why we're doing it is kind of what we set up to now. Is we're doing it because we think this is a practical thing, and only talking about it now is already, you know, evolving our consciousness. And if it is viral like we see that it is, it will impact, I don't know, maybe 100,000 consumers, maybe 10 million consumers, who knows?
And more brands we have, more data we can generate. And we know that at the end of the day, we all need data to really like crack this industry as much as others.
There are some questions regarding the brands. I will try to make a mix of all of them. So someone is asking if there are brands from the United States, and how many companies or brands have already joined this initiative, and if there's anyone producing jeans brands.
I think it's Amelia has to answer this question. We have brands from the US. I'm not sure. We have 4 brands from the US, and we can you know a couple of brands?
Anna James, New York.
And James, New York.
And I don't remember.
On the website there are all the brands that are joining, because in the last 10 days all the brands joined, so we're kind of overwhelmed. And of course we would be very happy to have US companies taking part, and US is a driver for the world economy and the world habits and, you know, trends. And jeans, no, I don't believe we have any
We
jeans.
should definitely do, so we can balance it out with fancy clothes.
Yeah. Want to say something? Io in Italia?
Sul perché
Sì, su perché ti fa piacere. Sì.
Lavoro da tanto tempo nella moda e so per certo che ci si appropria di una denominazione di origine che non è diciamo veritiera al 100% su quello che poi è appunto l'origine del prodotto, e penso che è un tool che diventerà indispensabile per chi si voglia appunto differenziare da quello che permette appunto la denominazione di origine, o invece un impegno verso i consumatori, anche verso quello che potrebbe essere nel nostro caso anche un codice etico espresso nel page del sito fin dall'esordio, proprio per cercare di garantire con la massima trasparenza e certificazione intesa come tecnologia possibile, quindi Genuine Way in questo caso, quello che viene fatto, dove, come, e non lasciare spazio a quello che potrebbero essere appunto dubbi su quello che è semplicemente un made. Quindi questo è il motivo principale.
Grazie mille.
We have some more questions if we have time. So, is there support in Wear Me 30 Times for garment repair? Where to go, how to do it? This is a big deterrent to multiple wearings.
Mm-hmm. Big question is for you, actually.
So yeah, this is part of the way that brands can start like designing their clothes differently. For example, in our case, we always leave 1.5 inches to 2 inches of like allowances inside the clothes, so we can like adjust them based on how our body changes. And when it comes like to repairs, that's also like possible if the brand's like it's open to. So we're just like starting like pushing like these boundaries and open the conversation to what can we do to extend like the lifespan of clothes. So
yeah, and you know, right now we have not provided anything regarding the fixing of the item, that would be great to put this in the larger conversation of the updates of the 2.0, 3.0. So it's a very interesting question because in order for consumers to reach the 30 goals with certain garments, it's going to take time, and it might happen that the garment needs fixing. Sometimes, if it's really high quality, like most of our manufacturers, you will not need it, and that's great. But who knows?
Yeah, we can probably start asking our users why they don't wear it anymore. Is it because they got tired of certain style and so that can be like rented to someone else? Or is it because like something happened to the garment and so it can be repaired? In that case, we can explore how we can connect like local tailors, local like seamstresses to users.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, and this is the key part, genuine way part of things. When you start doing a gamification and when you start doing this kind of thing, you also get data, KPIs, which are essential. The report from Oli comes from data, and we don't really have a lot of data on the consumption habits. We know of the waste, but there's a lot of things we don't know, like the reason why people do it. Like, do I do it mostly because I'm tired of it, or do I do it because the brand is pushing me with a new model, is pushing me to buy it, or do I just do it because the item breaks? We don't know that. So like engaging with consumers via social media and so on, then we can start engaging with them with Q&As and start understanding what really happens with their items.
Someone is also asking how long is the program?
How long is the
program?
So the program for now is 2 years. This is what we could guarantee, to start with as a provider, to make sure that it's all working on, with support and everything. And then, of course, if it is very positive and there's engagement, it can go on for 20 years. I don't know. For now, we start with 2-year commitment.
There are also a few more technical questions, like any operational limit to the capacity of tagging such a big amount of items, and also, are there going to be associated services as well, and who owns the data?
We prepared that question. You're gonna answer that question. I'm gonna ask the question regarding the amount of garments, the amount of brands, the amount of items. If it is really viral, which is what we hope, then at some point we might have to consider the cost of the management, server costs, and also Media was going crazy because we some of the brands we started working with, they come back with a catalog of 100 products, and like they had to put in the name of 180 models, and we're like, let's make a limit to 20, but then we're like, oh no, they won't be happy. So we put all the models, and maybe it's not about the amount of catalog. It's maybe you have 2 items, but you do large production because you're a bit more industrial. If we get to the point where we have, 50 million consumers engaging and logging in and stuff, we will have some costs to manage. At that point, we will look to maybe spin this off as a project outside of our companies, get a little bit of funding, get a team to keep developing it, or put a cool CEO that is very driven to develop it into something much more exciting.
Well, so as we said earlier, this wants to be an open platform. So if there's any partner that want to help us and join us in this journey, we're very happy to talk to them. We had the idea, but we're very happy to bring other people on board.
We're very busy. No. But answering the question that you avoided.
Who owns the data?
Yeah, no one owns the data right now. I mean, the data is open because what we do is the only data that is collected is the identity of the users who log in with Facebook. We know who logged in, and we know what item they have, and this data goes to the brand. So the brand knows the identity of who is playing with the game, and we will find more. We don't have a collection of specific demographic data or anything, and we don't want to have it. At some point, it is useful to collect in an automated way data regarding what is the average consumption habit, or how long does it take your average user to do it. Right now, the only way we can do it is manually, monthly. We can check it out, and this data goes to the brand. the brand. So every brand is entitled to data of their own consumers. We, as holding the server, as Genuine Way, we have access to this data. So
in the end, we would like to anonymize it and just use it like for like research and like statistics for this industry.
Yeah. We know that data is always a big issue, so we try to be very neutral about it.
Okay. Anche io ho lavorato un po' di anni nella moda e sempre pensato di questa cosa, no? Che ho osservato questa cosa, che la gente compra le cose, sono preoccupati in questi punti di usare, di portare la casa, però non parlano mai di cosa fare dopo, no? Dopo 3 mesi, no? 6 mesi, via. Allora io ho iniziato a pensare come posso fare, perché anche io adesso appena lanciato la mia linea di fitness e bikini biodegradabile, però anche sono una influencer su social media, allora ho iniziato a pensare, adesso sono 2 anni che sono vegana, e ho iniziato a pensare come potevo influenzare le persone in queste cose, no? Sulla moda, sul stile di vita, non solo per mangiare, perché adesso tante persone dicono che sono influenzate da me, da mangiare, da vivere, di andare, allora dico allora devo fare qualcosa anche sulla moda, perché è una cosa che mi piace, però dopo quando penso che compro una cosa, uso 1 o 2 volte e dopo basta, allora vabbè, è iniziato da me, no? Perché io sono stata una che ha fatto questo per tanto tempo, anche perché come sono una influencer, tanta gente manda cose per me, io uso 1 o 2 volte, però non pensavo che erano tutti così, no? Adesso è cambiato, però prima, tipo 2 anni fa, 3 anni fa, io pensavo che era una cosa mia, però adesso vedo che è una cosa normale, no? Che tutti fanno così, usano una cosa 5-10 volte e dopo. Allora, sono ancora in processo di vedere cosa posso fare io come lucidità o come influencer, come una che c'è una linea di costumi, di fitness per cambiare, per aiutare le persone e anche capire per me stessa.
Fantastica risposta, ci hai pensato, ne valsa la pena.
Non ho pensato, non ho parlato proprio.
So I think we want to go on. Maybe we get the last question.
Yeah, if you want, someone asking, if a brand wants to join the initiative, does it have to be eco-friendly, somehow certified or analyzed in order to be part of the project, or can any brand be part of it?
Any brand can be part of it.
Any brand can be part of it because there's, I don't remember the stats from Oli, but there's a certain percentage of the impact of fashion that is due to production, and there's another percentage that is due to consumption habits. So even a brand that has not achieved sustainability in production can achieve sustainability in consumption. So it's even more important than a brand that feels that they can do their part with the consumption part joins the initiative.
And sustainability is a journey, so we would love to see more brands coming forward and do whichever step they feel comfortable. So any little step counts towards like the big goal.
Posso dire una cosa in italiano, agganciandomi a quello che stavi dicendo tu. So che ci sono collegati tantissimi brand che hanno lavorato con noi in questo ultimo mese. Siamo arrivati a quota 30 che sono presenti sul sito già da oggi e sulla presentazione, ma ogni giorno ci stanno contattando sempre più persone, sempre più brand, quindi voglio ringraziarli, dal più piccolo invece ai brand più importanti, proprio perché come dicevi tu appunto tutti possono partecipare, quindi sono molto contenta, siamo molto contenti come Genuine Way e Maakola appunto di questa bella partecipazione.
Yes, and thank you very much. And Amelia is the person in charge of dealing with you guys on a daily basis for as brands and consumers for Wear Me 30 Times. So if you want to join, you'll have to get in touch with Amelia. I wanted to have a closing note that is important for me is we have some really cool people here that are from the industry or journalists or entrepreneurs, and then we have people connected from around the world that are really interesting individuals. any idea that comes out from this session about not only joining, but even taking active part in designing the project, please reach out to us. Like, it would be great, you know, we have as partner Marangoni, H Farm. It would be great to have someone that can help us viralize this, bring it, for example, in other continents, or just even be very blunt about it and say, oh, this is my life goal. I'm the guy or I'm the girl, and maybe they can spin it off and get some funding and bring it to a different level. We're totally up for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to do this just like to share what's our idea and this tool, but then it's open to everyone who wants to join us to help.
Thank you.
Let's bring that to Brazil.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Per partecipare come brand, immagino serva mettere l'etichetta che poi appunto tutti i capi del brand, giusto?
Non c'è un obbligo. Allora, intanto c'è una questione spinosa che, per esempio, potendo scegliere, questa poi è un po' nascosta per i miei gusti, però potendo scegliere cucire, riuscire a collegare proprio al capo fisico è la prima scelta, perché rimane col capo. Non tutti lo possono fare, lo vogliono fare, e quindi si può anche fare, per esempio, quando vendi il prodotto nel retail, molti nostri produttori stanno facendo un cordino con un'etichetta rimovibile. A quel punto sta a voi con i social media, oppure sulla landing page, dire tenetelo poi il QR code. Non c'è nessun obbligo del brand sul numero di item, totale numero, e anche quale parte del catalogo. Potrebbe essere anche un solo prodotto.
Ok, e quindi perché il cartellino va poi tenuto, perché ogni volta che si indossa il capo bisogna scannerizzarlo.
Il problema è che se vuoi giocare dovresti ricordarti ogni volta che metti quel capo di scannerizzarlo.
Esatto.
E se io per esempio sono la tipica persona che lo perderei dopo 4 giorni.
Sì. E se è sul capo stesso.
È meglio, sì.
Ok.
Per esempio, the guys from 365 Dry, they printed it. It's, you know, the raincoats. They printed it on the raincoat, which is great. You get the raincoat. It's a QR code, so it's a very rustic technology. You know, it works. So, thanks everyone. Thank you for joining. It was great, and thank you to the panelists and everyone connected.